Bless you, Kenny. That would have been a bad no-no. Okay, here we go. So we had halachas of whether you borrow. There were two main halachas we were describing: is can you borrow and be goel, and you can be goel lechatzayin. So going down the chart, if an Eved Ivri was sold to Yisrael, it had said lashon v'sigu yadai, right? Umatzla kedei gulasai. So he had sigu yadai means he had himself personally get it. Umatzla kedei gulasai, it had to be full and not half. We also that was learned by this and was gezer shava sacher sacher. Moichastei achuza, it says lo, you can't. Goyal, you can't. In other words, you can't be goyal, you can't goyal lechatzayin. If you magdish stay achuza, then you could. You could go ahead, be live of a goyal, and you can go be goyal lechatzayin. We ended off yesterday share what halacha in a bati arichayma. Like Reb Shimon, we said, you know what, we want to make it as easy as possible. Since he's going to lose it in a year, so we'll make it easier that what he can even be goyal by borrowing money and even being goyal half. Like the Chachamim, the last price, no, the Chachamim said he can't be goyal and he can't be goyal lechatzayin. And we had conflicting brises, and we said one brise was the Rabbanan that said he can't borrow and he can't goyal lechatzayin, and the other one was Rav Shimon. That's what we left off with over there. Now in the second brise that we left off with we had the following kal v'chaymer. In the second brisa that we left within, we had the following kal v'chaymer. This is a nice little chart that we'll be referring to back to Bez Hashem. So now, in the following brisa, we said v'im gol yigol, you needed a pasuk to tell me that if you're magdish, you could borrow the money and to redeem your field if you're magdish your field. Now the question is, why did you need a pasuk? I should have a kal v'chaymer that I should be able to borrow money to magdish my field. When someone goes ahead and sells their field, the reason they can't be goyal is because they're going to get it back. So therefore, since it's going to return to them, you can't go ahead and borrow money because eventually you'll get back. But someone who's magdish's field where there's no return, someone who's magdish field when there's no return, certainly he should not be able to borrow. Remember, this is the brisa that says once we heap upon him, we're going to keep on heaping upon him. So once they were machmir that you don't get it back, so certainly he can't be goyal. Okay, I'll say moicher. It's 2 years. Moicher, it has to be, but you can't be pointed for 2 years. Mashenke migdash, you can be pointed miyad. So maybe since you can pointed miyad, you should be able to be goyal by al salva. Therefore, we had bati arichayma to tell me no. Bati arichayma, even though you can be pointed miyad, still you can't be loiva. So that point, fellas. That question from Bati Arichayma that I needed a pasuk. In other words, I needed a pasuk to tell me that you could be goyal by migdash is because I couldn't learn out of Bati Arichayma. Bati Arichayma, you have a year to be goyal. You don't have to wait 2 years, or else you'd lose it. And nonetheless, you can't lend money and be goyal. So therefore, the fact that moicher also that moicher is the fact that miyad, the difference between miyad and 2 years is not a criteria. So therefore, what? I need a pasuk to tell me you could be goyal. Now the Gemara is going to ask on that kal v'chaymer. Rav 2, kafal v'amid aleph, right after the parentheses. Amalei Ravacha b'rei the Rav Rabashi. Ikla nifrich. You went ahead and said that what? That you learn out that being moichem miyad from mikdash from bati arichayma, that since bati arichayma is goyal miyad, and nonetheless you can't borrow money. So who adin migdash, which is goyal miyad, says Gemara, I have a kasha on your comparison. Mala moicha b'bati arichayma. It's weak. You can't be goyal la'olam, meaning till yovel. You have a year. But what are you going to say by a person who's magdish's field? The person who's magdish's field, he's able to go ahead and be goyal la'olam, and therefore what? His power is weak regarding goyal chatzayin. That's by why are you going to say Toima b'migdash sheyipa koyach legoyel? So therefore, why do I need the pasuk of gold again? At the end of the day, fellas, if you're magdish your field, you could borrow money because it's a pasuk. Our question is, why do you need that pasuk? You want to learn a kal v'chaymer from bati arichayma that you can't, and therefore you need the pasuk. Right now, I don't have a reason to say not. Because Bati Arichayma, you cannot learn out Magdash and Bati Arichayma. Bati Arichayma is immediately, and that you have 50 years to go ahead and be goyal it. So therefore, why don't I need the pasuk? So Amalei Ravacha, Saval Ravashi, you know where you need the pasuk of goal that you can be goyal again by Magdish, you can be goyal v'loiva. You should dikla meima nahadadina. We can go ahead and not learn out from one, but from a mehad sad, we could go ahead and say that you should be able to not be able to be goyal. Which mehad sad? You have Magdish Sadeu, stay achuza from Moicher Sada and from Bati Arichaima. So again, the two sources are going to be that Moicher and Bati Arichaima, and I'm going out Magdish. Okay, just again, the words get a lot of jumbled as I say it often. So when you say a lot of words that are jumbled, you have to make people straight. We're trying to learn out Magdish. Why do you, and that Magdish, at the end of the day, Magdish is loiva. Good? At the end of the day, Magdish is loiva. Why? Because it's a pasuk. We want to know, why do you need a pasuk? We have a kal v'chomer. Says the Gemara, we're going to learn out from two people. We're going to learn from Meicher and Bati Arichaima that you should not have a kal v'chomer, that you need the pasuk. That's our mission. Says now, where's the Mehatzad? Diklamei mened dina and taste the Mehatzad. Okay, Meicher. It says you're going to have the Magdish Sada Achuza from Meicher Sada and Bati Arichaima. That just like Bati Arichaima and Meicher, you can't borrow. So too, Magdish you can't borrow. Good. That's the Memetzino. Just like we find Bati Arichaima and Meicher Sadeyu, you cannot borrow to redeem. Who had in Magdish, you can't borrow redeem. Good. Fred the Gemara, I Meicher Sadeyu Achuza Yochiach, selling a stay Achuza sheyu pekoyach ligoyel la'olam. That this is the way you'd start off. You say Moicha Sadeyu will show you that that has a better koyach. In other words, you get it back in Yovel, Mashen came Magdish, and nonetheless there you can borrow. So who adin what? Magdish. Why? The goal miyad. You have to wait 2 years before. If you sell your field, you have to wait 2 years to repurchase. Mashenke Hegdish, you can be paid the miyad, so maybe you can be goyal. So moiche bias bati chariyochiach. It'll disprove that sad of the 2 years. Why? Because that you have to borrow right away, and nonetheless, loy v'goyal v'chazer adin loy rizeh krizeh. Right, the common denominators between moiche sadeyu and bati arichaima are not similar. Hatzad shava shebehen, hatzad shava between bati arichaima and moiche sadeyu shebehen. That they could be redeemed. However, but they can't be redeemed by borrowing money, nor going ahead and redeeming a half. So therefore, what? So we've accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, right? We accomplished what we wanted to accomplish, right? What do we want to accomplish? We wanted to know, why do you need a pasuk by Magdish that you goyal? Right? Why do you need a pasuk? Again, you have. Here's your giving, guys. Look at the word. Look at the pointer. Magdish Sada Achuza, Cain, you could be goyal, you can borrow money, and Cain Lechatzayin. Why? Because you can learn it out from Moicher and Bati Arichaima like the Rabbanan. These two laws. So these laws. So I'd say just like here and just like here, you can't do it. So to over here, you can't do it. Kamash Balon the pasuk in goal, you could do it. God, that's it. That's it. In other words, I needed a pasuk because through the limud, learning out Magdish from Meicher, learning out Magdish from Meicher and Bati Arichaima, I would say you can't borrow money. You could borrow money. Are we good? Okay, Baruch Hashem. So. Only my zutra bereider Rav Mari Ravina ikla mifrich. I still okay. Now I'm going to give. Now what are we doing now? We're going to question your whole premise and again ask why you need a pasuk. Only my zutra bereider Rav Mari Ravina ikla mifrich. Malat sara shava shebehen moicha sedeu and bati arichaima shekein hayru koichem ligol b'shana shniya. In the second year, right? By the second year, you can't go ahead and redeem it, fellas. But the Erechaima, if you don't redeem it in the first, it's gone. So by the second, you're gone. If you sell your field, you can't be goyal until after 2 years. So you want to learn out Magdish from these two that you need a pasuk. You can't learn out Magdish from these two. These two have something in common. When it comes to second year, you can't redeem them. Guys, why? But the Arechim, you lost your rights. And Meicher, it's too early to go ahead and redeem. Masha'enke Magdish, you can go ahead and redeem immediately. So maybe since I can't learn this from this, you could be Leiva V'Goyel. So I don't need the pasuk of Goyel Yugol to tell me that. Right? Kishma, guys. Again, going along with the flow, just follow the flow. You want to learn out clearly from Meicher and Bati Arichema, you want to learn out Magdish. Good. And therefore, I needed a pasuk to say it's different. Says the Gemara, it's different even without the pasuk. Why? Why do we know about Bati Arichema? You have to go ahead and redeem it in the first year. After that, you lose it. Why do we know about Meicher Sedeyu? You can't redeem it until 2 years have passed. So when it comes to 2 years, you're gone in both categories. This one because you lost it in the first one. This one because it's too early. If I'm Magdish my field, can I be Goyel right away? Yes. So since I have that discrepancy, I can't learn this from this. Now, if I can't learn this from this and this, then therefore I could be Loiva and Goyel. It's Kasha. So why do I need a pasuk to tell me that? There's no reason to tell me not. I can't learn it out from the Kal V'Chaimer, the Tzara Shava, because it's distinctly different. So why do I need the pasuk? That's the Gemara's Kasha. So Amalei Mazutra, Re'ed Mother Ravina, Ikla Nefrich on your Kal V'Chaimer, Malat Tzara Shava Shehem between Meicher and Bati Arichema, Shkein Chayra Koichem Ligol B'Shana Shniya. They're both weak when it comes to the ability to redeem them in the second year. Neither can be redeemed in the second year. The Bati Arichema, of course, you lost it, and the other one, of course, is too early by Meicher. That it's good, and therefore what? I would know that you could borrow money. So why do I need a pasuk of Goyel Yugol? So I'm the Ravina, Evet Ivri Hanimchalai V'Kechavim Yochiach. And Evet Ivri that sold to a guy will be Yochiach. Sheyoipa Koyach Ligol B'Shana Shniya. You could redeem in the second year. Vein Loiv V'Goyel L'Chatzayim. Okay, so now we're going to conclude this sugya. Baruch Hashem. So, in conclusion, here we go. You want to know about Magdish. What the din is Magdish? The din of Magdish is for sure. You know why? Because it's a pasuk. Go, you go. Why can I learn out from a Kal V'Chaimer? So what Kal V'Chaimer are you going to learn out from? This and this and this are in the second year. They're non-redeemable. So how can I learn out Magdish, which is redeemable immediately? Says the Gemara, well, this over here, an Evet Ivri, that is an Evet Ivri that is sold to a goy, an Evet Ivri that is sold to a goy, nonetheless, he's redeemable right away, and nonetheless, what? You can't be. So I'd say even though over here you could redeem it right away, and therefore it's different than these two, it's not different than this, where you can't redeem right away, correct? And so therefore I needed a pasuk to tell me it's different. And I think the chart is very good. The answer is right in front of you. You see the difference, why you needed a pasuk. So at the end of the day, we know the halachas, the question is how you arrive there. Guys, the chart was beautiful, right? It's stated right in front of you what we're doing, what we accomplished. Okay. The Gemara goes weiter. Boy minei Rav Huna bar Chinna me Rav Sheshes. Amoiche bias b'pati arichayma. Another, now we know it's a machloikis whether it can be redeemed through halva or redeemed lechatzayin. That was machloikis of Shimon and the Rabbanan. Another nakuda. Can it be redeemed by kroivin? Can it be redeemed by relatives? Good. Meaning, against his will, can relatives come along? And now, if this guy comes along, let's say I sell my house, and my brother comes and I sell it to Harry, comes along myself to Harry. Harry, here's your money. Harry, of course, has to go ahead and acquiesce and give me back my house. What about my brother Zalman shows up to Harry? Can Harry say, listen, the halacha is it has to be him, right? Because we know, guys, I can't borrow money. This is going to the Manda Omar. This is going according to this, right? According to this Manda Omar, that you can't borrow and you can't be goel, load him. Can you be goel with relatives? It says I only come on because we only come on now. This is the category. Can you be goel with relatives? In other words, I know I can't borrow money, but can I be goyal with relatives? That's what he wants to know is, could you or not? That's what the Gemara wants to know. Could you be goyal with relatives or not? Says the Gemara the following. I ain't the goyal krayvim. You can't. Now, what's the studim of the shaila? It says gulasai, gulasai. It says by steyachu. Okay, it says by both of them. It says the hesiga yadai umatza k'dei gulasai. Okay, that's the gula by nimcha by his field. He has to have the field. And it says by Bati Arichaima that gulasai im time shnas memcharai umiyate gulasai. So we want to know the following. Says the Gemara. Let's go through it again. What's a shaila? Do we learn out geula, and therefore what? Just like steyachusa, ain't a negelas lechatzayin, but it can be redeemed by kroivim. It could be steyachusa could be redeemed by kroivim. Sa'av hai, so to bati arichayim could be redeemed by kroivim. Steyachusa, guys. Here you go. Macha steyachusa, kulas kroivim. Good. So therefore, even though it's loy on this and loy on this, but let's learn out this from this. That's the tzad to say you should be able to goyel. Just like the moicha sedeu could be goyel, he could be goyel. That's one way to learn. That's one the tzad that you should be able to goyel. Idilma ki ksiv geula b'chatzayin hu b'chsiv. The geula was only going on this halacha, not on this halacha. The geula was only going on this halacha and not on this halacha. That's the tzadim of the shaila. That's the tzadim of the shaila. Is it all the way similar or only partially similar? If it's all the way similar, then you would be able to be goel kroivim. If it's partially similar, ken zay not. And that's the ayin lekamon. This is lekamon that we're doing that. Afaynami ein negol lechatzayin. The negol kroivim ma'idilma ksiva gula b'chatzayin hudafsiv. Okay, b'kroivim like a siv. Amalei, Rav Sheshes said to Rav Huna, by Bati Arichayma, ain't a nigel kroivim. He says it's not nigel kroivim. He says that it has mamish the same. It's different than steyachusa. It's similar that it's not nigel lechatzayin or alidei halva, but it's dissimilar because steyachusa could be nigel b'kroivim. This cannot be nigel b'kroivim. That's Rav Sheshes says. Then we're going to question that. Then Rav Sheshes said that it can't be redeemed by kroivim. So Eser Rav Huna Rav Sheshes. It says v'chol eretz achus aschem geula titnu la'aretz l'rabbis ubechol loshen ubechol eretz achus aschem geula titnu la'aretz l'rabbis batim v'eved ivri. That what? That kroivim could go ahead and redeem an eved ivri and batim. The havamin is going to be the batim are bati arichayma. Good. Fed Gemara, my lav lebati arichayma. So you see, it could be redeemed by kroivim, as opposed to you who said it can't. Loi lebati chatzeirim. It means open cities that they can be dealt by kroivim. Fed Gemara, bati chatzeirim behed yiksiv behu. By bati, I don't need lechol to rabbis because it has a mefurish pasuk. It says al steya aretz yechashev, and the steya aretz yechashev, that the eretz open cities are considered like steyachuza. And we know steyachuza could be redeemed by kroivim. So why do I need the chol to be marbe the house of an open city? It says officially open. An open city is like a steyachuza, and a steyachuza we know what can be redeemed by kroivim. Okay, so therefore it must be the chol is referring to bati arichayma. No, it says Gemara the pasuk b'chol gula l'koiva chayva. It's to be kaveya that in open cities it's a chiyuv for you to redeem that house. Not that it's rishus, it's a chiyuv. But not by bati arichayma. The Tanya, the goal is mimcha achiv. It says the goal is mimcha achiv, and the pasuk says the bal goyloy akarav love comes along the relatives. The goal is mimcha achiv, and he redeems the mimcha of his brother. Rishus, I would think, well, it's not a mitzvah; it's just rishus. Atam rishus ain't elachayva. It says a person doesn't have a goyel. What do you mean a person doesn't have a goyel? There's always a blood relative somewhere along the line. Always. Elo, what does it mean? He has a goyel, he has a relative, The inner right salikach, but he doesn't want to be goyelit. So Sharish just biyadai. Did Rabbi Yeshua says Rabbi Yeshua the din of going ahead and redeeming the field of your friend is of your brother, your karev is rishus. It's rishus, not a chiyuv. Comes along Rabbi Eliezer says no. The goal is mimcha achiv chayv, it's a chayv. Atam chayv only ela rishus. Tamalayim b'chol gula titnu. So hakosev kavei chayva. So guys, we want to say the pasuk of b'chol geula teaches me that on or everything you should be goyal, even but the ari chayma, unless we place it to shaila that what you could be goyal a connected of Sheshes who said you can't, that what you can't be go b'kroivim. You know, it's different than stay achuza. Says the Gemara, no, that house is not referring to but the Arichayma, it's referring to a house that's in an open city. For Gemara, a house in an open city, we have a pasuk that equates it with stay achuza, so we know for sure that a relative could do it. Says the Gemara, that equation would only go ahead and that if the relative wants to, but not that he has to. Comes from L'choil, like Rabbi Eliezer, that he has to, but it's not discussing but the Arichayma, and therefore it's not a kashan of Sheshes who says but the Arichayma that relatives cannot be redeemed. Only Rabban Ravashi, the Imrila Ravina Ravashi, Bishleim Mani Amalei Rav Huna, who said what the pasuk b'choler tzachuzaskem l'Rabbis bati arichayma, that you could be goyal b'karev hayim d'chsiv b'chol. That's what it says. All, not only stay achusa, but even anything. Elamanda Omal Rabbis bati arichayma my b'chol. Why does it say b'chol? Mashma everything, and it says more kasha enough name that's fair. Okay, so we have. Let's see our chart at which point we were holding on this chart. Regarding this halacha, Bati Arichayma, Leiter Rabbanan, who says this leiva, right over here, Ayin Lekamon, we have a machloikis. We seem to have a machloikis. If Shesha says that that it's not. Shesha says that it's not redeemable through kroivim, and that's what he's saying right now. It's not redeemable through kroivim. I have a pasuk l'Rabbi's kol. That lechos food is going on. It's going on a chiyuv. So the Rabbi Eliezer, the Gemara has a kash on it. The Gemara makes shver, but it didn't say tiyufta. Okay, now the Gemara is going to still ask on Rav Sheshes Shita that by but the arichayma you can't be bad, you can't be goyal. Esvei Abaya Matam Loimar. It says by Eved Ivri. It says the following pasuk. Okay, it says the following pasuk. I have it over here. It's in Vayikra Chavhei Mem Ches and Mem Tes. Achrei Nimcha Geula Tiela. After he's sold, there should be a gula for him. Echad Me Echad Yigolena. One of his brothers should redeem him. So it says Yigolena once. Aydoidoi Ben Doidoi. His uncle or his cousin Yigolena. It says Yigolena a second time. Mishar B'Saroi Mishpachto. Any other member of his family Yigolenu. Or he himself. When it says in the parasha 3 times, 3 psukim Yigolenu. So Chafei Mem Ches Mem Tes. It says Yigolenu 3 times. Good. It says Yigolenu 3 times. Now, what do we do with this? Again, the kash is going to be on Rav Sheshes fellas who said, "But the Oirachama, a korev cannot redeem." That's again always keep it in front of you. Rav Sheshes says by kroivim, but the Oirachama cannot redeem. Abai is going to go ahead and question that from Eved Ivri. So now, when Eved Ivri is sold, right? It's sold to a guy. So now it says Yigolenu Shalosh Pamim l'Rabbis Kol Geulos. That any which way get him out. Shenigelois Keseder Azeh. That what you niggle with kroivim. My love, but the Arechayma the Eved Ivri. When it says Yigolenu 3 times, one is for itself, one is for but the Arechayma, and one is for Eved Ivri, and one is for right Eved Ivri and Nimchad Yisrael. Guys, look at me. This pasuk, look at me, is said by an Eved Ivri that's sold to a guy. It says it 3 times. So one legufei, one for itself, one for Eved Ivri sold to a Jew, and one for Bati Arichayma. So you see that what? A relative can go ahead and redeem a Bati Arichayma, which is a kasha of Sheshes, who said you can't. Good? That's the kasha. My love, Bati Arichayma of Eved Ivri that's sold to a Yid, loy, lebati chatzeru stay achuza. If these 3 guys, watch. One for Eved Ivri sold to a guy, one for Bati Arichayma, but the Chatzerim open fields, and one for Stei Achusa. Says the Gemara, Bati Chatzer Stei Achusa, the head Ksiv, I'll stay Watzi Chashev. You don't need a pasuk to tell me what those 2. You don't need a Yigolenu to tell me those 2. That's a given. When it says Kedam Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, L'karev karev kaidim, there's a pecking order according to the pasuk. Kachanami Yigalenu is said times L'karev karev kaidim. What that there is a pecking order. L'karev karev kaidim, that it should be Rashi. L'karev karev kaidim. The gabe stei achuzak siv ubog goelo hakarev elav like pirish hakarev. It doesn't say which one hakarev kaidim. Ki hacha the pirish doidoi bereisha the main loy doidoi. Okay, so now. It says openly by Stei Achuza that a relative redeems, fellas. Which relative gets first dibs? That you learn out from Eved Ivri sold to a goy. Doi doi, ben doi doi, shakraisim. So you wanted to say, look at me, you wanted to say a chidush that these three things yigolenu. One is for itself, that an Eved Ivri sold to a goy. One, two, Eved Ivri sold to a yid. And three, Bati Arichaima, that's not what it's coming to teach me. It's coming to teach me itself. It's coming to teach me an open house. It's coming to open city, and it's coming to teach me stay achusa. Fred the Gemara, open city and stay achusa. It says, of course, a relative can redeem it. Says the Gemara, it doesn't say which relative. It doesn't say the order of the relative. I learn out from this. I learn out from a yid sold to a goy where it says doi doi or ben doi doi. So now I'm good. I know relative, but it's ambiguous. Now I know the order of the relatives. Karev kaidman, the closer one redeems. That's what it's, but it's not speaking about Bati Arichaim at all. And Rav Sheshes is held serve saying that Bati Arichaim are not redeemed by relatives. Guys, good? It's repetitious. Again, it's the attack on Rav Sheshes and the fending off. It's the attack on Rav Sheshes and the fending off. It's tedious to an extent because you're hacking the same thing over and over again, and you get lost in the psukim. Heichi Itmar. Okay, the Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. This the Nachman bar Yitzchak that you just told me that there's a pecking order of relatives. Where did you learn it from? Aha says the Aha the boilahu. Eved Ivri hanimchal Yisrael, an Eved Ivri that's sold to Yisrael. Nigla lekroivim or ain't a nigla lekroivim? Is he redeemed or not? An Eved Ivri that's nigla Yisrael. Again, where is the pasuk said by an Eved Ivri sold to a goy? It's said by an Eved Ivri sold to a goy. Aliba the Rebbe like Tibaylach, the Amar, Mishain and Nigel Be'ele, evidently that's not Nigel through Krivim, Nigel B'Sheish, Amaloi Mifrik. He says only 6, and it's not going to be Krivim. Rebbe says it's not going to be through Krivim. Ki Tibaylach Aliba the Rabbanon. Who's the Shaila according to the Rabbanon? Who argue on Rebbe? Mai. What's the Shaila? Yalfin Gzer Shava Sacher Sacher. We learned Sacher Sacher. So just like one sold to a goy is doi doi ben doi doi, so to one sold to a yid is doi doi ben doi doi, right? Or perhaps yigalenu lezeh v'loy la'acher. Maybe that yigalenu to only this one, only one that's sold to a guy and not to a yid. Only one that's sold to a guy and not to a yid. I'm wondering if this is Gzeir Shava or a Gili Milsa like yesterday's daf. Because if you learn Sacher Sacher, with the Chay, which is a full-fledged Gzeir Shava. So again, we want to know where Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak got his pecking order from. So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak said the following: was a shaila and Eved Ivri that's sold to a Yisrael. Can it be nigla karev or not? Right? Do we learn sacher and he could, or do we say yigolenu? It limits it to the guy and not to a yid. Tashma, let's push the shaila. It says b'chol eretz achuzastem gula titnu l'rabbis bottom v'Eved Ivri. My love, the body arichaim of Eved Ivri animchol Yisrael, that there can be nigel al yidei krivim. That's what we wanted to say in the first place. Like Eved Ivri animchol Eved kechavim, and Eved Ivri krivim behed yksivahu. I died ben died yigalenu on the base. Says mahalu l'kavay chayva, but I feel Rabbi Shua. That's because a chayv that even like Rabbi Shua says by if you sold to a Jew, it's a rishus. He would be made by a guy. It's a chiyuv. Okay, and that's where Tashma Matam Gimel the rabbis call Gula Shenigul Kaseda that they go according to the Krivim. It says Hazeh. My love, but they are Chaim of Eved Ivri and Nimchel Yisrael loy, but they Chatzei and stay Achuzah. But if I can the same question, but they Chatzei behedik sevahu. I'll stay at Arts Yechoshev. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak leKarav Karav Kaidem. This is where we learn Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. So at the end of the day, it seems that Rav Sheshes holds that but the Arichaim are not redeemed by Krivim. So again, we finished the sugya. Let's chaza. Eved Ivri and Nimchel Yisrael. No borrowing. No l'chatzayin. Again, it says v'nimcha kulai. We learned out v'nimcha kulai 500, 500,000, 1,000. It has to be that amount. Ligol miyad. Yeah, immediately he can buy his way out. Gulas kroivim was machlokes according to Rabbi. No, according to Rabbanan, yes. That's what we just saw the machlokes now. Eved v'nimcha l'goy. Again, can't borrow. No gula miyad immediately. Chayva l'goy shloi yitma. It's a chiyuv to get him out there as soon as possible, that he shouldn't be contaminated among the goyim. Moichas te'achuza. No, you can't sell it. You can sell it, of course, but you can't borrow. It has to be that you sigu yadai and gulas tia yashu gulasai, the whole thing. You have to get everything. And l'gayim miyad only after 2 years. And kroivim could be goylas te'achuza. That's a given. Mekadesh again, across the board, yes. Gulas kroivim, no. Gulas kroivim, no. It didn't say in that parsha. But the Yochanan Machlokes, Reb Shimon said, yeah, for sure. And Avada, what about over here? Ayin lekamon, I think Reb Shimon would be yes. According to Rabbanan would be no, like Reb Sheshes. But the Chatzeirim, again, but the Chatzeirim has the similar din to stay achuza, with one exception. Stay achuza, it's 2 years. They can be immediately miyad. But regarding Geulas Kroivim, yes. Regarding this and this, regarding Batei Chatzeirim and Asachuza, they both be a no. It would have the same halacha. It's a very nice chart. Keep it handy, print it out. You'll have it, and it goes ahead and encapsulates a sugya. Guys, is that not as bad as I thought it would be, right?
Could you send the chart, Lace? Could you send it?
I sent it out. I sent it out on the WhatsApp. It's a PDF. It's on your WhatsApp as a PDF, and therefore it's printable. And it was much better than pedestrian than I thought it would be. Okay. Now the rest of the Gemara is very geschmack. The rest of the Gemara is very geschmack. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, the Mishnah had said that the nirtza is a rekoiner itzia, an eved ivri that is purchased by a Jew, and he was given a shifra kanainis, and he wants to stay. You know, he liked his master, and he wanted to stay there. So there's a parsha of nirtza that gets old, and now we're going to have exactly how that was accomplished. Okay, so nirtza nikdav ritzia dichsiv v'rotza adoinav es oznai b'matzeya, and v'koines atzmai b'yovel u'misas ta'adin, and he goes free when yovel comes, because la'olam means la'olam shel yovel, or when his master dies. Dichsiv v'avdoi v'lo yasabem v'lo yasabas. It says he'll serve him, right? It says that he'll serve the master, right? Was the lashon of the pasuk. Ve'sigu adonav el Elohim ve'yishay el adeles oyel mezuzah v'ratz adonav es ozda b'matzeya v'avadoi la'olam v'avadoi, and he'll serve him, meaning it's exeris akasiv. He serves only the adon, and he does not serve what? The sons or the daughter. Okay, what does la'olam mean? La'imosh shel yovel tarabanan matzeya v'ozda. It says that he's going to go ahead and use the matzeya. Seems to be an awl, but it's some type of very sharp implement, obviously. How do you know that he would take a peg, vasira, or a thorn? In other words, a sharp peg or thorn made out of wood, vehamachat, or a needle, v'mekadeach, or a drill bit, v'michtav. They used to write on wax. They had wax tablets, and they'd write on it using, I guess we'd call it a stylus, right? It itself didn't have ink, but it had an ability to go ahead and imprint on others. Talmud Loimar, Vilakachta, it says Vilakachta, the lashon of Vilakachta es hamar tseya, v'nasata ba'oznoi ubadeles, v'hoylecha evet olam. And you would take the martseya and you put it in his ear and the door. Okay, when it says Vilakachta, the Rabbi is called Dabashanikach, anything that is movable. So we don't care about whatever material it is, what it's made from, as long as it's sharp enough to pierce the ear and it's movable. That would be fulfill the requirements of the pasuk. Rabbi Yosef Yehuda. Rabbi disagrees. Rabbi Yomer Mar Martseya miyuchid shel mateches. Just like Martseya is unique, that it's made of what, particularly of metal. Avkol shel mateches. So too the implement to make the hole in the ear of the eved has to be what, from mateches. So he would not allow to use a peg or a thorn. He would not allow to use a peg or a thorn. That would be off limits. Davar acher harmartseya, the lashon the hay of harmartseya, lehevi harmartseya hagadol, one that's going to make a big hole, not a little hole, a big hole. Amr Laza, you done beribi. This is a person we don't meet often. You done the gadol hadar. Hayadarish kashen darshin kashen roitzim. When they would go ahead and all his ear in roitzim ella b'melta, they would do it in the soft part of the ear. They do it in the soft part of the ear. L'chayra, they would do it, guys, like over here where people have earrings. The chachamim maimin ein eved every nirtza mifnation eved every koye nirtza teishnasa balmum. A koy eved every koye will not be able to be nirtza because he becomes balmum. In time of the milta, he writes, if you can tell me it's in the soft part of the ear, heich eved every koye nirtza balmum. Ha'ein nirtza ela b'goy b'shalois. It must be. It must be ela nirtza ela b'goy b'shalois. That a little illustration. Your ear, when you thought it pierced, when you think of a pierced, you think of girls pierced ear or men that you see with pierced ears. That, in fact, would not be a mum. In other words, we're saying you have a shaila. Can a kohen go ahead and be pierced? Well, if he's pierced over here, why is it bal mum? So we see from here when he's pierced, it's not over here, guys. It's up here. It's up in the goiva. It's in the upper part of the ear. That's where he's going to be pierced over here. That is not, and that will make render him bal mum. So it's machloikis where he's pierced. Like Rabbi, right? Is he pierced below in the lower part, like Yudan, or is it pierced in the upper part? The Chachamim would disagree with Yudan. But my commitment, what's the machloikis? Now, what's the machloikis? This is not going back on what we just spoke about the place of the ear. It's going back to the machloikis, whether you can use a wood chip, a sharp wood chip, a peg, or a thorn. Right? So we had a machloikis. Rabbi said it has to be only metal, and the Tanakhama said, "What it could be even wood." And we've spoken out many times the way, according to Rashi, you can dash in the Torah derech klalu prat, or klal, or derech ribu emiyah. Right? We spoke out. Remember the illustration with the cup. The illustration with the cup. The Torah a klal means the following: the cup is empty. Comes along a prat and puts something in the cup. Comes along a klal afterwards and says, "Well, you're not limited to the thing in the cup, but you're limited to anything that's similar to the thing in the cup." Ribu miyat it's full. Comes along the miyat and takes out something, and the ribu is only one thing. So let's go through this quickly. The Rabbi darish klalu prati. Rabbi darshans the Torah derech klalu prat. The lakachta you should take is a klal. So that cup is empty. Martseya prat. The only thing now in the cup is an all. Ubedeles. Of a klal. Klalu pratu klal yatadan ela ke'ein ha-prat. What was the prat now? Only a martseya. And now we're saying, no, not only a martseya, but anything similar to a martseya. Maha prat mafurish shel mateches, av kol shel mateches, which would exclude a wooden chip, a wooden peg, or a thorn. Rabbi Yossi darsh ribu yemiyat. Rabbi Yossi darshans what? Ribu yemiyat. So therefore, what's in this cup now? Everything. Is anything that can pierce his ear would be acceptable, even a thorn. So ribu is ribu yakol. So my Rabbi Komili, even a thorn. Now my miyat, it's got to be miyat something, miyat sam. It'd be miyat an acid, some type of liquid that would go ahead and drug that would make a hole in your ear. That would not be acceptable. It has to be something. So then, as always, the ribui miyat is always more than the klalu prat. And this case, it's self-explanatory, right? That the klalu prat would be anything similar to mateches, and the ribui here would be anything that's in the cup, with the exception of something that is not a physical thing, such as something that has the tangibility of a matseya. But if it does, it's fine. But a sam, which seems to be maybe a liquid form, or not something that is a solid, right? Now a solid, that would be me. Omamar, going up with the brisa hamartseya. What does it mean? Hamartseya, the martseya. The heavy martseya gadol. My mashma kidamarava. Hayerech hamiyumanis. It says the yerech hamiyumanis. What does it mean? The hey hayerech. That means in the git hanashe fellas is only the right yerech. Yerech hayumanis. Hachnami hamartseya miyuchid sheb maratzayim. It's not just any martseya, but a big one that makes a zaftik hole. So again, you're talking about, according to this, the Eved would have a good zunta hole in the top of his ear, in the really fleshy part of his ear, not some little hole, some earring in the bottom. It's more like a brand. It would be more like a brand, if the Eved, you'd be able to tell you will be able to tell in Nirtza, because his right ear, again, we learn that from Mitzayra, it's his right ear in the upper part of the ear, and there's a big hole in the ear. Because
they wouldn't put anything in the hole? They wouldn't put anything in the hole to keep it open? Wouldn't it close?
I don't know. Again, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. Maybe the hole was so big it would take out a whole piece of cartilage, right? The soft part of the ear, it has a means of closing up. I think the hard part, if you take a knife or some implement and cut out the cartilage there, I'm not sure it would close. Okay. Rabbi Laza, said Rabbi Laza, Yudon Beribi. Again, Yudon Beribi, how you dirish kashein reitzim in reitzin el milta in the soft part. The chamayim eidem v'dibi koyin nirtza mifnei shenasa balmum. Says no v'yasa balmum. So big spit. So asvas. So let him be a balmum. If he is going ahead and selling himself into bondage and staying there, so you want to stay there. Obviously, you're not serving Hakadosh Baruch Hu in the Beis Hamikdash. You're serving this guy outside. So guess what? Why do I have to care if you want to be a balmum? You set yourself up for this. So go ahead and do it. Why should we stop it? It says the shov el mishpachtoi. When it comes to Yovel, he returns to his mishpacha. What does that mean? It goes back to the chazak he was in the mishpacha, was that as a koyin oived. So therefore, we're not allowed to make him a balmum, despite the fact that he's going ahead and nirtza. Iboilahu. Eved ivri koyin maushe yimsaloi rabbi shifcha kananis. Can the Eved ivri the master give him a shifcha kananis? Why should he not be able to? Every single Eved can have a shifcha kananis as long as he's married. A Kidushin, loishna kahanim, loishna Yisrael. It's a Kiddush that he's able to be with a shifcha. Once from a Chadash, there's no limitation to it. It could be either kahanim or Yisrael. Ideal mashayni kahanim. Maybe kahanim are different because what they have extra mitzvahs. The kahanim have extra Kidushin and different things. Maybe the Chiddush of shifcha kananis was limited to a Yisrael hedyet and not to a kohen. Rav says he would permit it to marry to take a shifcha kananis. Shmuel Amma Asa. Then we're going to go ahead and question Shmuel. Only Rav Nachman Rav Anan. When I was by my Shmuel, is kumteri italalisu. Okay, it seems to be. Rashi says, "Loi hitisem leiv ledagdek." You didn't incline your heart to be medagdek b'shmuaschen. Elokim esachkim b'paspisen. He's told my Shmuel when you said that it's asa to give a kohen to a shivcha, it must be that you were busy playing something, but you weren't listening. That's the long-winded route of saying you should have listened more. Okay, it happens, right? A little ADD in the Gemara. My timer like timrule meha. If you want to tell me that it's usser, right? Why did you go ahead and have to tell me it's usser? You should have said from here. Ein eved every kayin nirtza v'shenase balmum. Then Taimar ein rabbi moisla shifla kananis typically the beinen ahafti es adoni es ishti ves manai v'leka. You're telling me the reason why the guys outside. You're telling me the reason why a kayin cannot be nirtza, but it's because it becomes balmum. According to you, Shmuel, that he can't marry shifcha kananis, then the whole process does not begin. What's the process of becoming a nirtza? Hafti es adoni es ishti. 1 second. He's not allowed to take an ishti. He's not allowed to take an ishti, right? The ishti means not his real life. It means the shifcha kananis that he can only live with in the state of being an eved. So according to Shmuel, that it's usher. Why would you have to say that he's not nirtza because it's not a balmum? He's not nirtza. You know why? Because he can't marry a shifcha kananis. That was the claim on Shmuel. That my Shmuel must have been sleeping when he said that it's asa. And guess what? The su loimidi and there's garnish to seren. There's nothing more to say. That's it. Shmuel, you're out. You're out. Zichi could give him one, and therefore the reason that a kohen can't be a nirtza is because of the balmum. But al shifcha, he would be able to give him a shifcha. Iboilu, koyim be a fast tayar. Again, going along the lines, we know there's a parsha of Eshish fast tayar. You see a woman in battle and you desire her. Nachlekas Rashi and Taisus when the first bia takes place. But anyway, here's the story. Kidushin, loishna koyim, loishna Yisrael, like dibber el keneged Yetzahara. Idil meshayni kahanim hoyel v'riba v'hen mitzvus yiseris. Maybe they can't. And that's the obvious connection to Eved Ivri and Netzah. Rav Amamuta u'Shmuel Asa, same people involved, same psak. The beer is shine at the Kuliyam Leit Pligi regarding the first beer, which is connected to Yetzahara. There's no machlekes the shari. Even Shmuel would say it be permitted. The Leidibur Torah connected Yetzahara. Ki Pligi with machlekes the beer shnia, the second beer. Rav Amamuta Shmuel Asa. Now again, if she's going to be a zayna. A zayna is asa to a kohen. A kohen can marry a giyaris, correct? And if she has a din of a zayna, a giyaris, he can marry her. Rav says, "Mutter hoyel v'ishtri, big chiddush. Once we mativ one bia, she's mutter completely. It takes the shem giyaris off. She's mutter. Shmulama asa the havile giyaris the kohen lekazia. That's one way to learn the machlekes Rav and Shmuel. Ikad the army. The bia shnia kuliyam lepligi. The second bia, everyone says asira. No, Rav would not buy into what that keeping the ishtri. She's the giyaris, and the giyaris is asa to a kohen. The havile giyaris keep pligi machlekes the bia rishayna. Rav Amamuta like dibber Torah connected Yetzahara. Shmuel Amar asa kol hechid the karina be veisel toich beisecha karina be very isa bashivya. So when you can take her into your house, then the parsha of Yifas begins. And therefore, the kohen who can't take her into a house, it does not begin, because the beer shni would not be permitted. Okay, we'll stop over here. Have a good day, everybody.